Zixatal nervously adjusted his breathing apparatus as he waited in the university's reception area. Today was a big day for the Aldebaran student. The exchange program was bringing in students from across the galaxy, and Zixatal had been assigned to orient a newcomer. He checked his datapad again, reviewing the file. His thin blue fingers trembled slightly as they tapped the screen. Student from Sol System, 3rd planet. Name, Kate Miller. Zixatal paused, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence. The Sol System? That couldn't be right. He quickly checked the planetary classification and felt his heart sacs constrict. Earth was listed as a Class 13 Deathworld. There must be some mistake. No one from a Class 13 planet had ever attended the Galactic University of Xenobiology. Such worlds were considered barely habitable, places of extreme temperatures, toxic atmospheres, dangerous wildlife, and unpredictable weather patterns. Most sentient species in the galaxy evolved on Class 3 to 5 worlds. Anything above Class E-10 was generally considered uninhabitable by intelligent life. The doors to the arrival bay slid open with a soft hiss. Zixatal looked up and immediately identified the human. Unlike the various other exchange students with their environmental suits and protective gear, Kate Miller walked in wearing nothing but simple cloth coverings. She carried a small bag over her shoulder and looked around with curious brown eyes. Zixatal approached cautiously. Greetings. I am student guide Zixatal. Are you Kate Miller from Earth? The human smiled, showing her teeth. On Aldebaran, this would be a threat display, but Zixatal had studied enough xenobiology to know that for humans it signaled friendliness. That's me. Nice to meet you, Zixatal. Wow, you're taller than I expected. Kate extended her hand. Zixatal hesitated before carefully extending one of his upper limbs. The human's 5-fingered hand clasped his 3-fingered one firmly. He noted the strength in her grip, but also the careful control. I trust your journey. Was acceptable? Zixatal asked formally. It was fine. Kinda boring, actually. 26 hours in a transport ship with nothing but old movies to watch. Kate looked around the reception area. So this is the famous university, huh? Looks nice. Zixatal stared at her, puzzled by her casual attitude. Did she not realize how unusual her presence was? How dangerous her home planet was classified? Yes. I will show you to your quarters. They have been specially modified to meet your unique environmental needs, Kate chuckled. I'm sure they're fine, I'm pretty adaptable. As they walked through the university corridors, Zixatal noticed how other students moved away from Kate, some with obvious fear. A group of Proximan students whispered among themselves, their gill slits flaring in alarm. Is something wrong with those fish guys? Kate asked quietly. They are Proximans, Zixatal corrected, and they are concerned. You are the first human to attend this university, the first Class 13 planet inhabitant ever admitted. Kate stopped walking. Wait, what? Class 13? What does that mean? Zixatal blinked in surprise. You do not know your planet's classification? Earth is designated as a Class 13 death world. The scale only goes to 15. Kate burst out laughing, startling a passing professor who dropped his data crystals. Sorry, she called to him, then turned back to Zixatal. That's ridiculous. Earth is a beautiful planet. Earth has extreme temperature variations, powerful storms, earthquakes, volcanoes, dangerous predators, and high gravity, Zixatal recited from memory. The radiation from your sun alone would kill most species without protection. Kate shrugged. I guess we're just used to it. It's home. They arrived at Kate's quarters. The door slid open to reveal a room that looked like it was designed for a dangerous zoo specimen. Reinforced walls, climate controls, and what appeared to be containment protocols. This is a bit much, Kate said, setting down her bag. Is that a force field generator? Standard safety protocol for Class 10 and above species, Zixatal explained. For your protection and others. Kate walked to the window and looked out at the university grounds. The gravity feels really light here. What is it, about 0.7 Earth standard? 0.68, Zixatal confirmed. Most students find it comfortable. I can increase it in your quarters if you prefer. No need, it's kind of fun. Makes me feel bouncy. To demonstrate, Kate jumped slightly and rose nearly a meter off the floor, landing with easy grace. See? Fun. Zixtal watched with scientific fascination. In the lighter gravity, humans would be even stronger, faster, and more dangerous. Yet Kate showed no signs of aggression or discomfort, just curiosity and that strange, laid-back attitude. Your orientation begins tomorrow, Zixtal said. I will introduce you to Professor Glindar and show you the laboratories. There is a mandatory safety briefing for all new students. Sounds good. Kate opened her bag and pulled out a small plant. Mind if I keep this? It's a basil plant from home. For cooking. Zixtal's eyes widened. You brought biological material. From Earth that must be declared and quarantined. Kate looked surprised. It's just basil for spaghetti and stuff. Even harmless Earth organisms could be dangerous here, Zixtal explained, his voice rising slightly. Earth bacteria alone could… Okay, Kate said, putting the plant back in her bag. I'll declare it properly. I didn't know it was such a big deal. The next morning, Zixtal arrived early to escort Kate to the orientation. When he entered her quarters, he found her doing one-armed push-ups on the floor. 298, 299, 300, Kate counted, then jumped to her feet, barely sweating. Morning, Zix. Ready for the big day? Zixtal had never seen such physical conditioning. What were you doing? Just a light workout. The gravity here makes it too easy, so I have to do more reps. She grabbed a bottle and drank from it. Just water, she added, seeing his stare. The xenobiology lab was their first stop. Professor Glindar, a tall insectoid being with compound eyes and delicate limbs, was waiting for them. Welcome, human Kate Miller. We are honored by your presence. The professor's translator converted his clicks and whistles into standard, Galactic. Today we will examine some specimens from various worlds. The lab contained plants and small creatures in sealed environments. The other students stood at safe distances, wearing protective gear. Kate approached one containment unit that held a small flowering plant. This specimen is from Rigel 7, Professor Glindar explained. Extremely toxic. The neurotoxin can paralyze most species on contact. Kate peered at it through the glass. It looks like a peace lily crossed with a Venus flytrap. Pretty. The professor activated a robotic arm to manipulate the plant for demonstration. Halfway through, the mechanism jammed. How unfortunate, Professor Glindar clicked. We will have to reschedule this demonstration. I can fix it, Kate offered. Before anyone could stop her, she opened the containment unit and reached inside with her bare hand. The room erupted in panic. Students backed away. Zixtal froze in horror. But Kate simply adjusted the plant, fixed the robot arm, and closed the unit. There you go, the servo was stuck. Everyone stared at her in silence. What? Kate asked, looking at her hand. Oh, this plant? We have similar ones on Earth. My skin's too thick for the toxin to penetrate, no big deal. Zixtal stared at Kate with new eyes. She had handled a deadly toxic plant like it was nothing. Not because she was reckless, but because to her it truly wasn't dangerous. For the first time, Zixtal began to wonder what kind of species could evolve on a Class 13 planet and consider it beautiful. What other dangers could Kate Miller shrug off as no big deal? And what could the galaxy learn from humans' laid-back attitude toward what other species considered deadly threats? That evening, Zixtal began a new research project on his datapad. Title: Psychological Adaptations of Deathworld Species, a Case Study of Human Resilience. The universe had just become a much more interesting place. News of the human who handled a toxic plant with her bare hands spread quickly through the university. Within days, Kate Miller became the most talked-about student on campus. Some avoided her out of fear. Others watched from a distance with scientific curiosity. Zixtal found himself in a unique position as her assigned guide, both terrified and fascinated. I don't understand why everyone is acting so weird around me, Kate said as they walked to their comparative physiology class. Yesterday, a vegan student fainted when I sat next to him in the dining hall. Zixtal's four eyes blinked in sequence. You must understand. Most species here evolved on worlds much gentler than Earth. They see you as... He searched for a polite word. Extremely durable. You mean they think I'm a monster? Kate said with a small smile. It's okay. I get it. Not a monster, Zixtal corrected quickly. A biological marvel. Professor Glindar wants you to participate in a special session tomorrow to demonstrate human capabilities. Kate groaned. I'm not a zoo exhibit. It is for science, Zixtal said, and it might help others understand you better. The comparative physiology classroom fell silent when they entered. The teacher, Professor Lonzia, a floating gas-filled being contained in a translucent environmental suit, gestured to two empty seats. Today we discuss adaptation to extreme environments, she announced. How fortunate we have with us a native of classification 13 planet. All eyes turned to Kate, who slumped in her seat. The lecture covered various planetary conditions and how life evolved to survive them. When they reached extreme gravity worlds, Professor Lonzia displayed an image of Earth's creatures. Human bones have evolved to be remarkably dense yet flexible. Their muscles are compact power generators compared to most sentient species. An average human can lift objects weighing approximately half their body mass with ease. That's underselling it a bit, Kate whispered to Zixtal. My grandmother could lift more than that, and she was 80. When the class ended, Professor Lonzia assigned a research project. Teams of 2 will study adaptation mechanisms, due next week. A tall, golden-skinned student approached them in the hallway. He moved with the fluid grace typical of Class 3 planet dwellers. Behind him stood 3 others with similar features. So, you're the Deathworlder, he said to Kate. I am Jor-Al from Centauri Prime. These are my companions. Kate nodded. Nice to meet you. We were wondering, Jor-Al continued, his tone becoming mocking. Is it true that humans eat the flesh of other creatures? Zixtal tensed. Most advanced species in the galaxy had evolved beyond consuming animal protein. Some do, Kate replied calmly. I'm mostly vegetarian myself, though I occasionally eat lab-grown meat. Jor-Al made a disgusted sound. Barbaric, but what else could we expect from a species that crawled out of the mud on a killer planet? Kate simply smiled. We did more than crawl. We learned to run, and jump, and build spaceships. Now if you'll excuse us, we have work to do. She walked away, leaving Jor-Al looking disappointed at her lack of reaction. Zixtal hurried after her. You handled that well, he said. Jor-Al and his group think they are superior because Centauri Prime is a paradise world. People like that exist everywhere, Kate shrugged. No big deal. The next day, they met Professor Glindar in the physical training facility. The room was designed to simulate different planetary conditions. Thank you for agreeing to this demonstration, Kate Miller, the professor clicked. Today we will explore human physical capabilities. Kate stood in the center of the room wearing what she called workout clothes, simple, flexible garments. Around the edges, students and faculty watched from behind safety barriers. We will begin by simulating standard Earth conditions, Professor Glindar announced. The gravity in the room increased to 1G. The temperature rose to 20 centigrade. Humidity adjusted to 60%. For many of the watching aliens, these conditions were already challenging. Several put on breathing assistance devices. Now, Kate Miller will perform some basic human movements, the professor said. Kate did a series of exercises, running, jumping, lifting weights, and climbing a wall. To her, these were normal activities. To the watching aliens, it looked like incredible feats of strength and endurance. Is this really necessary? Kate whispered to Zixtal during a break. I feel like a circus performer. They need to understand, Zixtal replied. Look how they're watching you now, with respect instead of fear. Professor Glindar raised the stakes. Now we will simulate a Class 8 environment, moderately dangerous. The room transformed, gravity decreased, temperature dropped, strange mists formed, and artificial terrain appeared with obstacles and hidden hazards. This exercise tests adaptability and survival instincts, the professor explained. Zixtal will join Kate Miller. The goal is to reach the other side of the room. Zixtal froze. Me? But I am not prepared for— You have studied theoretical xenobiology for 3 years, Professor Glindar reminded him. Time for practical experience. Reluctantly, Zixtal entered the simulation area with Kate. The alien mists made it hard to see. The strange terrain felt unstable under his feet. Stay close to me, Kate said. She moved forward confidently, testing the ground before each step. This reminds me of hiking in the fog back home. They made slow progress. Zixtal shivered in the cold, his thin body not designed for such conditions. Kate noticed and gave him her outer layer to wear. Won't you be cold? He asked. I'm fine, she said. Humans adapt to temperature changes pretty well. Suddenly, a mechanical predator leaped from the mists, part of the simulation. It lunged directly at Zixtal, who froze in terror. Without hesitation, Kate stepped between them. Her movements were so fast that Zixtal could barely follow. She deflected the mechanical creature, using its momentum to throw it aside. Are you okay? She asked, turning to check on him. Zixtal stared at her. How did you do that? You didn't even seem afraid. Kate helped him up. Basic self-defense. Most human kids learn it. And I wasn't afraid because I knew it wasn't a real predator, just a test. They completed the challenge, emerging from the simulation to applause from the observers. Even Joral looked impressed, though he quickly hid it. Professor Glindar approached them. Excellent work. Kate Miller, your performance confirms our theories about Deathworld adaptations. But what interests me most is your calm approach to danger. It's just how we are, Kate said. On Earth, you learn to stay calm when things get rough. Panicking never helps. Later, as they walked back to their quarters, Zixtal saw Kate in a new light. Her laid-back attitude wasn't carelessness, it was strength. I want to understand, he said suddenly, how humans think, how you face danger so calmly. Will you help me with my research project? Kate smiled. Sure. And maybe you can help me with mine. I'm still struggling with theoretical xenobiology concepts. A fair exchange, Zixtal agreed. He hesitated, then added, Today, when that predator attacked— Thank you. No big deal, Kate said, then laughed at his expression. That's going to become a running joke between us, isn't it? For the first time since meeting her, Zixtal felt his fear giving way to friendship. Perhaps there was much to learn from this Deathworlder after all. Over the next few weeks, Kate and Zixtal fell into a comfortable routine. They studied together in the university library, ate meals in the dining hall, and worked on their shared research project. As they spent more time together, other students began to approach Kate with cautious curiosity rather than fear. One evening, they sat in the university's common area, surrounded by students from 12 different worlds. Kate was explaining a human concept that baffled everyone. So you're saying humans go camping for fun? Asked Lyra, a small amphibian student with glistening skin. You voluntarily leave your safe dwellings to sleep outside where predators can eat you? Kate laughed. Well, we usually bring tents and supplies, but yes, many humans enjoy connecting with nature. But nature wants to kill you, said another student, his eye stalks quivering. Especially on Earth. Nature doesn't want anything, Kate explained patiently. It just is, and facing small challenges makes us feel alive. Zixtal watched as Kate pulled out her datapad and showed everyone pictures of Earth's natural wonders. Mountains with snow, vast oceans, dense forests, and wide deserts. The alien students leaned in despite themselves, fascinated by the beauty, yet terrified by the conditions. This is what humans call a light rain shower, Kate said, showing a video of people walking through falling water, smiling. Some of us find it peaceful. Water falling from the sky is peaceful. Joral had joined the group, his golden skin shimmering under the lights. Though still arrogant, his curiosity had overcome his disdain. On my world, such an event would cause mass panic. Different perspectives, Kate said simply. She turned to a new image of humans snowboarding down a mountain. And this is what we call a winter sport. The gathered aliens watched in horror as humans strapped devices to their feet and slid down frozen mountains at high speeds. They do this voluntarily? Zixtal asked, all four eyes wide. For fun, Kate confirmed. My brother broke his leg doing this once. He couldn't wait to heal so he could go again. This statement caused such an uproar that a university administrator had to come ask them to quiet down. Later that evening, Professor Glindar invited Kate and Zixtal to his office. The insectoid being seemed excited, his delicate limbs making quick movements as he spoke. I have arranged something special, he clicked. A cultural exchange event, and I would like you, Kate Miller, to be our featured presenter. Kate looked uncertain. What kind of presentation? We have a virtual reality chamber, Professor Glindar explained. It can recreate environments from any world. I would like you to show us Earth. Not as we imagine it, but as you experience it. Zixtal looked at Kate. It would help our research greatly. To understand the psychological adaptations of humans, we must see your world through your eyes. Kate thought, for a moment, then nodded. Okay, but on one condition. Zixtal experiences it with me, not just watching from outside. Professor Glindar's compound eyes glittered. Perfect. Even better for the research. We will schedule it for next week. When the day came, the virtual reality chamber was surrounded by eager observers. Inside, technicians prepared Kate and Zixtal for the experience. The chamber will read your memories, Kate Miller, a technician explained, and create environments based on your experiences. Whatever you think of, it will appear. Kate nodded. She and Zixtal stood in the center of the empty white room. Ready? She asked her alien friend. Zixtal's breathing apparatus hummed slightly faster with his nervousness. As ready as I can be to experience a death world. The chamber activated. The white walls disappeared, replaced by a grassy hillside. Above them stretched a vast blue sky with a single yellow sun. Around them, earth plants swayed in a gentle breeze. This is not what I expected, Zixtal said, looking around cautiously. This is near where I grew up, Kate explained. A park where my family used to have picnics. Zixtal reached out to touch a flower. It felt real. The plant life is so varied, and you're not afraid of it? Some plants are dangerous, but most aren't. We learn which is which as children. The scene shifted. They stood on a beach, waves crashing against the shore. The sun was setting, painting the sky in orange and purple. All that water, Zixtal whispered in awe, and it moves by itself. Tides, Kate explained, caused by our moon. As if responding to her thoughts, the image of the moon appeared in the sky, large and glowing. We evolved alongside these rhythms, Kate said. The cycle of day and night, the tides, the seasons, they're part of us. The scene changed again. Now they stood in a forest during a rainstorm. Water poured from the sky, thunder boomed, and lightning flashed in the distance. Zixtal moved close to Kate, clearly frightened. This is one of your dangerous weather events? Actually, I find it beautiful, Kate said, lifting her face to the rain. The power of it, the smell of wet earth, the sound of thunder. It makes you feel small in a good way. This would kill many species, Zixtal noted, watching water pool around their feet. But it helped create us, Kate replied. Life on Earth began in water. We carry oceans in our blood. The virtual rainstorm intensified. Lightning struck closer. Wind bent the trees. To Zixtal's surprise, Kate sat down on a fallen log, completely relaxed despite the chaos around them. She patted the spot beside her. After a moment's hesitation, he joined her. This is what I wanted to show you, Kate said. Not just that Earth is dangerous, but how we see it. We find beauty in storms, peace and power. We don't just survive the extremes, we learn to love them. Zixtal watched the storm with new eyes. Yes, it was terrifying. But sitting there, feeling the simulated rain, yet being unharmed, he began to understand something about humans. Your laid-back attitude, he said slowly. It's not just adaptation, it's appreciation. Kate nodded. Earth shaped us, made us resilient, yes, but also gave us a sense of wonder. The same forces that can destroy also create. That's the perspective Deathworlders gain. The scene changed one final time. They stood in a human city at night, lights glowing all around them, vehicles moving, people walking. A civilization built by creatures who evolved on a world that tried to kill them daily. We created all this, Kate said, not despite Earth's challenges, but because of them. Necessity drove our innovation. Danger taught us cooperation. We learned to control fire, predict weather, build shelter, grow food. Zixtal looked at the city, then back at Kate. I think I understand now. Your species doesn't fear what others do because you've transformed danger into opportunity. Exactly, Kate smiled. That's the greatest human adaptation of all. When they emerged from the chamber, the observing aliens burst into excited chatter. Professor Glindar approached them, practically vibrating with excitement. Remarkable. We recorded everything. Kate Miller, you've given us unprecedented insight into human psychology. But Kate was looking at Zixtal. What did you think? Really? Zixtal's 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he considered. I think I would like to see real Earth someday, not just a simulation. For the first time since they met, Kate looked genuinely surprised. Then she smiled. That could be arranged if you're brave enough. Perhaps, Zixtal said thoughtfully. I am becoming more like a Deathworlder myself. The cultural exchange presentation was a huge success. In the days that followed, Kate became something of a celebrity at the university. Students who had once feared her now approached with questions about Earth and humans. Even some professors sought her insights for their research. Zixtal found himself enjoying the reflected attention. As Kate's guide and research partner, he was now seen as an expert on human behavior. His own understanding had grown tremendously. What had once seemed like reckless behavior, he now recognized as confidence born from adaptation. One morning, Kate and Zixtal were in the university's main laboratory, working on their joint research project. Kate was explaining how humans dealt with high-stress situations. Our bodies produce chemicals like adrenaline when we're in danger, she said. It gives us extra strength and focus. We call it the fight-or-flight response. Zixtal took notes on his datapad. And this happens automatically without conscious control? Mostly, though with training we can learn to trigger it intentionally or suppress it when it's not helpful. Suddenly a loud alarm blared throughout the building. Red lights flashed along the walls. The lab's computer system announced in multiple languages. Emergency. Environmental system failure. All students proceed to evacuation points immediately. The other students in the lab rushed toward the exits in panic. Equipment was knocked over in the rush. Someone screamed. What's happening? Kate asked, remaining calm but alert. Zixtal's 4 eyes darted around nervously. The environmental systems must have malfunctioned. This is serious. Each area of the university is climate-controlled for different species. If the systems fail, he didn't need to finish. Kate understood immediately. For creatures adapted to specific environments, sudden changes could be deadly. We need to help, Kate said, moving toward the door instead of the evacuation route. What? No, Zixtal protested. The protocols say to evacuate to the orbital station. The emergency teams will handle any problems. Kate was already checking the lab's environmental readouts. Look at these numbers. The temperature is rising fast in Section C. That's where the Frigelian students have their quarters, right? They can't survive heat. Zixtal hesitated. She was right. Frigelians were ice-based life forms. Even moderate temperatures would be lethal to them. The emergency teams might not reach them in time. Kate continued. We're closer. We can help. Against his better judgment, Zixtal nodded. His heart sacs pounded with fear, but Kate's determined expression gave him courage. They ran through the corridors, moving against the flow of evacuating students. The university's automated systems continued to broadcast warnings. The air was already getting warmer. When they reached Section C, they found a group of Frigelian students huddled together. Their crystalline bodies were already showing signs of melting around the edges. Two lay unmoving on the floor. "We need to cool them down," Kate said immediately. She looked around and spotted an emergency equipment panel. Breaking the seal, she pulled out protective suits designed for extreme environments. "Put this on," she told Zixtal, handing him one. "Then help me get these students to the freezer units in the biology lab." "The biology lab? But that's 3 levels down?" "It's their best chance," Kate said firmly. She was already putting on her suit. Zixtal's hands trembled as he struggled with his suit. Kate helped him, her movements quick and efficient. "How are you so calm?" he asked. "This is an emergency." Kate gave him a small smile. "On Earth, we call this Tuesday." Despite his fear, Zixtal found himself laughing. It was becoming their private joke. Together, they began helping the Frigelian students. Kate carefully lifted the 2 unconscious ones, showing remarkable strength. Zixtal guided the others, who could still move. As they made their way to the biology lab, they encountered more students in distress. The environmental failure was affecting the entire university. Different species were suffering in different ways. They passed Joral and his friends from Centauri Prime. The golden-skinned students were gasping in the increasingly dry air, their delicate lungs struggling. "Water," one of them wheezed. "Need moisture?" Without hesitation, Kate diverted to help them. "The hydration station is this way. Zixtal, keep going with the Frigelians. I'll catch up." Zixtal was torn. The emergency protocol training told him to save himself. Logic told him to focus on the Frigelians who were in the most immediate danger. But something new was growing in him, something he'd learned from Kate. Courage. "No," he said firmly. "We stay together. We help everyone we can." The next hour was chaos. The university's systems continued to deteriorate. Heat zones became freezing. Oxygen-rich areas became toxic. Gravity fluctuated wildly. Kate and Zixtal worked as a team, moving through the failing university. They created a safe zone in the biology lab, using its independent power systems to maintain stable conditions. They brought in students and faculty from a dozen different worlds, each with unique needs. Kate showed Zixtal how to create improvised solutions, using lab equipment to generate cold air for the Frigelians, mixing compounds to help air breathers, filter toxins creating gravity anchors from dense materials. Word spread through the emergency channels. More students in danger started making their way to the biology lab instead of the evacuation points. Kate and Zixtal organized them, assigning tasks based on abilities. Soon they had a functioning emergency response team. When the university security forces finally arrived, they were shocked to find over 40 students from 15 different species, all working together under the direction of a human and an Aldebaran. "How did you manage this?" the security chief asked, looking around at the improvised life support systems. Kate shrugged. "Adaptability. It's what humans do." But Zixtal shook his head. "It's more than that. It's seeing problems as challenges, not disasters." Kate taught me that. As the professional emergency teams took over and began evacuating everyone to the orbital station, Zixtal found himself next to Joral in the transport shuttle. The Centaurian student looked different, his usual arrogance gone, replaced by a thoughtful expression. "That human," Joral said quietly. "She saved my life. She didn't have to." "No," Zixtal agreed. "She didn't. But that's who she is." "Is that a human trait? Or just her?" Zixtal considered. "Both, I think. Their world taught them to help each other survive. They turned adversity into community." From across the shuttle, Kate caught his eye and smiled. She looked tired but satisfied. Around her, students from many worlds were talking excitedly about what they had just experienced. Something had changed today. The university's systems had failed, but something new had formed. A bridge between species built on shared danger and cooperation. and it had started with one laid-back human who saw a crisis as just another Tuesday. 3 days after the environmental system failure, the university reopened. The orbital station had been crowded but safe while repairs were made. Now students and faculty returned to their regular routines, though something had changed. The experience had united them in a way that years of academic study never had. Kate and Zixtal were summoned to the Grand Hall, where the university's highest officials gathered for important ceremonies. They entered to find the vast chamber filled with students, faculty, and even some diplomatic representatives from various worlds. "I feel underdressed," Kate whispered, looking down at her standard university uniform. She had refused the formal attire offered to her, claiming it was too restrictive. "You saved lives," Zixtal replied. "You could wear Earth pajamas, and they would still honor you." The university chancellor, a tall being with flowing tentacles and glowing spots of bioluminescence, called them forward. His voice was deep and resonated through the hall. "Kate Miller of Earth, Zixtal of Aldebaran, step forward." They approached the center of the hall where a circular platform stood. As they stepped onto it, holoprojectors activated, displaying their images for everyone to see. "The recent crisis tested our university and our community," the chancellor began. "When our technological systems failed, it was the strength of character and quick thinking that preserved lives. You two exemplified the highest values of galactic cooperation." Formal commendations were presented. Kate accepted hers with a casual smile and a simple, "Thank you." Zixtal was more emotional, his voice trembling as he expressed gratitude. After the ceremony, Professor Glindar approached them. The insectoid being seemed unusually excited, his compound eyes glittering. "I must confess something," he clicked, mandibles twitching. "The pairing of you two was not random. It was an experiment." Kate raised an eyebrow. "What kind of experiment?" "I have studied Deathworld psychology for decades," the professor explained. "I theorized that species from extreme environments develop unique cognitive approaches to danger. But I needed to test this in a controlled environment." "So you assigned me to guide Kate," Zixtal realized. "Because I am cautious, detail-oriented, risk-averse," Professor Glindar finished. "The opposite of typical Deathworld psychology. I wanted to see how these different approaches would interact." Kate crossed her arms. "And did your experiment work?" "Beyond all expectations," Professor Glindar gestured excitedly. "The crisis proved my theory. Deathworld adaptability combined with methodical caution created a perfect response team. Together, you compensated for each other's weaknesses and amplified strengths." Zixtal looked at Kate. "I'm not sure how to feel about being part of an experiment without knowing it." Kate shrugged. "On Earth, we'd call this a happy accident. The intentions don't matter as much as the results." Professor Glindar bowed his head. "I apologize for the deception, but I am pleased to inform you that the university board has approved a new program based on your success. We will be establishing an exchange program with Earth, bringing more humans here and sending our students to your world." Kate's eyes widened. "Seriously? Other species want to visit Earth now?" "After seeing what you did during the crisis, yes," the professor confirmed. "The first volunteer is already approved." He turned to Zixtal. "If you still wish to visit Earth?" Zixtal's 4 eyes blinked in surprise. Then he nodded firmly. "Yes. I want to see the world that created Kate's perspective, firsthand." 2 weeks later, they gathered in the university's transport bay. Kate had completed her exchange semester and was returning to Earth. Zixtal was going with her for a 3-month study program at the University of Colorado. Jor-Al and a group of other students came to see them off. The golden-skinned Centaurian had changed since the crisis. His arrogance had been replaced by genuine curiosity. "I will miss our debates, Deathworlder," he said to Kate. "Perhaps one day I too will visit your planet." "You'd be welcome," Kate replied. "Though you might want to start with one of our milder regions. Maybe Iceland." Jor-Al nodded seriously, not realizing Kate was making a joke about a land of ice being mild by Earth standards. Professor Glindar presented Zixtal with special environmental gear designed for his stay on Earth. These will protect you from Earth's gravity and atmospheric conditions. But remember, the purpose is to experience the planet, not hide from it. Use these only when necessary. Zixtal accepted the gear. I will try to be brave, like a Deathworlder. Kate laughed. Being brave doesn't mean being reckless, it means facing what frightens you with a clear head. As they prepared to board the transport ship, a new arrival came rushing into the bay. It was another human, a young man with red hair and a scattering of facial spots Kate had once called freckles. Sorry I'm late, he called out. The shuttle from Earth was delayed by a solar storm. No big deal, though, Kate grinned. Everyone, this is my cousin Paul Miller. He's the new exchange student from Earth. The gathered aliens observed the newcomer with fresh eyes. Where once they might have seen a terrifying Deathworlder, they now saw a potential friend and teacher. Welcome to Galactic University, Zixtal said, extending a three-fingered hand. I hope you find it suitably challenging. Paul laughed, a sound very similar to Kate's. After growing up in Alaska, this should be a vacation. The aliens looked at each other in confusion, not understanding the reference. Kate just shook her head in amusement. As they boarded the ship, Zixtal felt a curious mixture of excitement and fear. He was about to visit a Class 13 death world. By all rational measures, it was a dangerous undertaking. Yet he felt strangely calm. Nervous? Kate asked as they settled into their seats. A little, Zixtal admitted, but also excited. I keep thinking about what you showed me in the virtual reality chamber. The storms, the cities, the natural wonders. Just wait until you see them for real, Kate said. There's nothing like feeling an actual Earth breeze on your face or seeing a real sunset. The ship's engines hummed to life. Through the viewport, Zixtal watched the university grow smaller as they pulled away. What do you think will surprise me most about Earth? He asked. Kate thought for a moment. Probably how ordinary it will seem after a while. That's the thing about danger and challenge. Once you learn to live with it, it becomes normal. That's the real human secret. We don't just survive challenges, we normalize them. As the ship accelerated toward Earth, Zixtal reflected on his journey. From fear to curiosity to friendship. From seeing Kate as a terrifying alien to seeing her as a teacher and friend. From viewing danger as something to avoid to seeing it as something to understand. Perhaps that was the greatest lesson of all. Not that humans were extraordinary for surviving on a death world, but that they had made the extraordinary seem ordinary. Their laid-back attitude wasn't a lack of awareness of danger. It was the ultimate adaptation, the ability to find peace, and even joy in a challenging universe. Earth, here we come, Kate said as the stars streaked by outside. Just another day in the life of an interspecies friendship. Zixtal smiled. No big deal, he replied, and they both laughed.